What's up guys, Rogue9 here, and I'm really excited to have met Manu here at the Rainbow Six Siege Invitationals. So thank you so much for taking the time to speak to me today. Can you tell me a little bit about your organization and what you're doing here at a video games competition?
Absolutely. We're very fortunate to be here. Thanks for having us on your channel. We're blessed to be here, really. This is something that started in around 2012 when Ubisoft approached us and Rainbow Six was beginning to be conceptualized. Ubisoft Canada knew that the project was going to be born in Canada and Montreal. Of course, you have Ubisoft International, they're everywhere, right? They're in France, they're in Brazil, they're everywhere. But the design team, the developing team was here in Montreal. And so they were looking for a tactical company that was going to be able to offer them some advice. I was brought in because we did some work on some TV shows, and our company works specifically in the television movie industry. Our company is tpru.ca or www.tpru.ca, and we cater to the production companies. So initially they approached us for advice on where to seek out equipment and tactical advice, tactical operators. And so in discussion, we introduced that we were special operators, former special operators from different places in the world. And so we have a diversified backgrounds. We have undercover operators, multilingual operators. We have guys from JTF2. As we went along, they realized how difficult it was to obtain some specialized equipment in Canada. It's the special operations community, as well as the undercover community and the law enforcement world. It's a very secretive environment, very hard to pierce through. And so from there, we joined forces with other specialized personnel, and we started guiding them in how to recognize what is real equipment, what is equipment that's been redesigned that we don't really use. From there, it evolved, and when the design team, the developing team, was now in more advanced stages, they started asking us for specialized actors. So actors that had the tactical background to be credible, not only in tactical photography, but also, as well as the motion capture side of things. And so when they started having trouble identifying those actors, we brought in some special operators who geared up in the motion capture suit with all the detectors. They started running some tests, and they saw the difference in the quality of the tactics that we were providing. And so things evolved from there. And when the cinematics were finally filmed, that's when we did Tachanka and Doc. So when you go on YouTube and you type the operator cinematics, all those were done by our team at TPR Consulting. From there, it evolved to the tactical photography. So early in the game, if you recall, when you would pop up the menu, you would see this photography in the background, stun grenades, bullets. There was the Japanese Special Forces team, the Brazilian BOPE. So we essentially got the gear from our partners worldwide, brought them in, the patches, the realism, and then got the special photography or the tactical photography done. Ubisoft really cared to well represent the special forces community at large. And that was something that was very important from them from the beginning.
You and your company specialize in helping media companies, whether it's films or games, understand how real operators work. So maybe something else, how did you maybe help the developers understand? Maybe not all of them know about firearms. Did you do sort of anything there to help them understand what equipment and how it would be used? Any other aspects?
Absolutely. So, example, a few of the things we did, they were very interested in knowing what different weapons sound like when they're fired. So we took some of their audio tech people shooting. So we took them shooting. They wanted to see what different bullets, what kind of impact it did on paper, on cloth, on different materials. They wanted to know how does the bullet interact with material. We as well introduced things like stun grenades, smoke grenades. They really wanted to do and know about everything. Another thing that we did, as you see in the game, there's the rappelling.
Yeah.
So again, early in the game, in the motion capture environment with all the hundreds of cameras around us, we brought equipment to show them just how a fast roping maneuver is executed. How do we exit helicopters? They were very interested in knowing all the tactics behind that. Tactics have also evolved. We used to, shoulder weapons a certain way. We used to load and reload a certain way. Things have evolved to make it quicker. So we showed them and introduced them that everything happens in the workspace. Everything happens here in the front. And then when we reload, we bring that weapon in, strip that mag out, reload from the chest, and how things have just gotten quicker. We always say milliseconds count. When you're reloading that weapon, you're re-engaging the enemy. A millisecond can make the difference between you getting hit and not. So we introduced them to that. We introduced them to fast roping, shooting, sounds, and they were just absorbing all of it. And I'm always very appreciative when they consider the heroes everywhere that do this job for real.
Yeah. That's really interesting, and it's really interesting to see how much effort the developers have put in to getting all that knowledge. So maybe one last question, and this is maybe a bit of a challenging one, because Rainbow Six, it is quite future-based. We do see a lot of gadgets and weapons that aren't in existence yet, but sort of how much do you feel you see your advice reflected in the game?
We see it definitely reflected. The game's getting more futuristic as well, but again, the research and development team are really going out there and asking the right questions to the right industry, even if a device is still in development, doesn't really exist. The technology is actually being developed, and so that team has really good connections, and they find the right people to ask the right questions. And even though something hasn't been released or something, they're also very responsible with corporate secrets. So they know and want to know what can be released and what cannot be released. And so it's a merger of the technology that's coming in the future, the considerations of what may occur tomorrow, merged with what's happening today.
Excellent, yeah, that's really interesting. Thank you so much for taking the time.
That's awesome, thanks very much.
Yeah, and then you mentioned that...
Yeah, and Mawashi is here. I mean, the exoskeleton human augmentation is in there right here, so thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
You bet.
So we have John from Mawashi here, right, and it's really interesting to see. So maybe you can tell us a little bit about why you're here, what you're showing off, and how that fits into the game.
Yeah, definitely. So we have been given the opportunity to participate in this event to showcase our game-changing exoskeleton technology that was developed for real-world special operation forces. And so we've been invited here under the auspices of Ubisoft and Real Police Tactics Casting and Consulting. So this is our latest technology called the Uprise Tactical Exoskeleton. So you might ask, what's an exoskeleton? An exoskeleton is a wearable device that augments, enables, or enhances motion or physical activity. So in this case, this is a passive, unpowered system that redirects the load carried by operators from the shoulders and upper torso area directly to the ground through mechanical levers. So it helps to lessen the load burden and, more importantly, prevent musculoskeletal injuries related to load carriage and repetitive movements. And the exoskeleton structure that you see here is made out of titanium. It's metal known to have the highest strength to weight ratio and corrosion resistance.
And you mentioned it's unpowered, so I suppose you have the disadvantage that it's not actively helping the operator, but at the same time, I guess there's also the advantage that you never run out of battery.
Right, so, it becomes a platform where, power systems, they have a battery that can last, for 2 to 3, 4 hours.
Yeah.
But once that battery runs out, it becomes a burden. You got to carry that load. With the exoskeleton, the passive system here, what's great about it, so there's no limitation in the mission duration, and also the system cannot hesitate, freeze, or malfunction.
And then can you maybe tell us a bit about how this fits into Rainbow Six, and if you see an operator in Rainbow Six equipped with an exoskeleton in future?
Well, you know, that's it's a good question,
Yeah.
but you know, it's also a sensitive question.
Right.
So, you know, I'd rather not talk about this at this stage, but one thing is for sure. If it would happen sometimes in the future, the fans and the community would be amazed.
What advantages would you see, say, in-game? I mean, in-game, it's a video game.
Right.
Players aren't really carrying the weight. You don't run out of energy. You don't get tired. How would you see sort of something like this fitting into a game and benefiting a player
Right.
versus playing just a normal character?
So Rainbow Six Siege is a game that's based heavily on realism.
Yeah.
So in our view, this exoskeleton in the game could increase the operator's speed as a permanent or temporary ability with cooldown. It could also allow the operator to wear more armor or carry more consumables without affecting his speed too much.
Right.
And it could also help to reduce the weapon recoil with the addition of, for example, an upper limb structure or a Steadicam type arm attached to the exoskeleton, which would support the weight of the weapon.
And hypothetically, do you see something like this being more useful to the attacking side or the defending side? Is that something you can talk about?
Well, it's an interesting question, and why not both?
Yeah, I suppose maybe on the defender side you could have someone with more armor,
Right.
and maybe on the attacker side the speed is more important.
Definitely, yeah.
Interestingly enough.
Yeah.
Okay, excellent. That's really great.
Thank you.
Yeah, I
very
think that's really
much.
interesting.
So there you have it. I found it really interesting to get a chance to talk to Manny and to see just how much effort Ubisoft put into getting the military details of Rainbow Six Siege right. And then of course we had Mawashi there as well, showing off their futuristic exoskeleton design. Do you think we'll be seeing an operator in future with an exoskeleton? And would it be an attacker or a defender? Leave your thoughts in the comments section below, and with that, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I will see you in the next episode.